Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Rob, of course, of Rule of Two Review. Welcome back to the channel, and I lied to you. I lied to you guys in my last video when I told you that that was the final video I was going to make this year in 2021. And after a couple of attempts to make this video, I finally decided to commit and actually make it a real thing. And so here I am in this video, which is actually the last video I'm going to release in 2021, where I'm talking to you guys about a lot of things. I'm talking to you about, I think, the planned break I have from YouTube that's coming up, and the way I'm kind of perceiving and analyzing and feeling about the gaming industry and the gaming hobby, and of course, YouTube, being a YouTuber, how I feel about social media and Twitter, and even maybe a sort of year in review, in a way, of the prior year of gaming, because despite the fact that there's some not happy feelings I have about a lot of things right now in this video, I do actually think this last year, just as far as, game releases goes, was fantastic. And I even talked to you guys about that in my top 10 games of the year video. And that was a fun list to do. It was a hard list to make and to rank simply because of the games that I played this year. There were so many great ones. There were only two that I played that I didn't enjoy. Everything else I played I thought was so good, and so it was really hard for me to put them together. So in that respect, it was definitely a good year, just because there was a lot of good video games to play in 2021. So hooray, that's great, I guess. But, I have other things on my mind and other things that I want to talk to you guys about. And as you know, in the title of this video, we'll probably end up saying, I do want to spend some time talking to you guys about my upcoming break from YouTube and why I'm taking a break and what I'm thinking and planning on doing and where it may take me or the channel in the future and all of these things. And I know that, this is something that I think you see a lot of YouTubers go through, whether you follow gaming YouTubers or just a variety of YouTubers in different spaces and music or movies or I don't know, the makeup and beauty is like a big scene on YouTube. Whatever category of YouTubers you tend to follow, you'll see this pretty often where sometimes folks take a break. And what I don't want is for my decision to take a break, and it's a break. It's not quitting technically, so I'll get to that in a minute, but I don't want my break to be wrapped up in the conversation of YouTuber burnout, because I don't think that that's really what applies to my personal situation, simply because I'm somebody who doesn't do YouTube full time and I don't take it seriously. I don't do it for the money or the clout, or the celebrity, whatever you would want to call. I'm not a celebrity, but you guys know what I mean. And I've always been very transparent about that, or at least for the past 4 or 5 years since I made the decision for myself to not pursue this as a job and a full-time gig. I've been pretty transparent with you guys about that I don't do this for those reasons. It's something that I've just enjoyed doing. It's been a great outlet for me to just, talk and be creative in my life outside of the music that I focus on. I'm a full-time working musician, drummer in 2 bands / projects right now, and I've been very busy in the past with that. I've also enjoyed having another creative outlet, which to me is the outlet of conversation, the outlet of talking about something I'm passionate about, gaming or movies or whatever. And so I have this YouTube channel that started as something I thought was going to be movies and gaming and really just became gaming focused and Nintendo focused. And so I've always done it for that reason. And I've done it only in a way that ever suited my motivation to do it and suited my time and my energy and my passion and my scheduling. Okay, so I've done it very seriously and regularly for 8 years now, just over 8 years. I've been a regular YouTuber every week, uploading anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 videos consistently, with the exception of my health situation earlier this year that put me on a break, and I'll touch on that probably too. I've been dedicated to doing this, and for 4 to 5 years of my 8 years doing it, it's been, part-time with no aspirations to go full-time. I'm not trying to be a millionaire celebrity YouTuber. I've just been doing it because I've enjoyed it, and I've liked seeing my channel grow, and I've liked having an outlet for me to just blab to an audience about things that I'm passionate about. And so to me, I don't know that you can apply burnout to that, because I'm not living this kind of nose to the grindstone kind of lifestyle when it comes to doing YouTube or, Twitch, the way other people do Twitch and live streams, or the way they do YouTube, or whatever their online presence is that is, probably their income or their personality or whatever. It doesn't fill that role in my life. I mentioned this on I think a Q&A recently. I do YouTube to the effect that you guys might think, because of how often you see me on YouTube and on Twitter, that it's my life and my personality and it's my front-facing aspect to who Rob is if you know Rob in real life. And that's not true at all. In fact, most people who know me, and again, I said this on that Q&A a couple months ago, most people who know me in real life don't know that I do YouTube. A lot of my closest friends do, and obviously my wife does and my younger brother does. But the rest of my family, my coworkers, and most other friends I have, they have no idea that I do this. It's not how I define myself. I'm known for my music and being a drummer, professional working drummer for 15 to 20 years. That's the thing that people know me as. It's not somebody who does YouTube. And I think most other YouTubers you see who do it as regularly as I do or more, that is how people know them in real life, because it's who they are. And that's not a bad thing. In no way am I saying that's a bad thing. I'm just drawing a line between myself and other YouTubers here. If it's somebody's job and their income and what they do full time, that's how people know them, because it's what they do. For me, this has always just been kind of a side fun thing that I've always dedicated a room in my house to wherever I've lived. And I just pop on this microphone and camera every once in a while, and I talk to the internet about gaming stuff that I think is cool. And so I don't eat, sleep, and drink and live YouTube, okay? So I don't really feel like burnout is what I'm suffering. I'm definitely suffering something, probably more akin to depression, as weird as that sounds. And I don't want like a pity party, woe is me, kind of I'm a victim thing. That's not what I'm getting at here. It's just more that I guess if I was to explain it, it's that after doing this for 8 or so years and just loving the hobby of gaming, loving playing video games, loving paying attention to video games and the news cycle and talking about it through my YouTube channel and my small but not insignificant audience, mostly made up of you guys, over the past couple of months, I've started to weirdly go through this depressive phase where I'm like, I don't know what happened, but something like a switch just flipped in me. And I started to care less about it. I think it was just a random organic thing, as if there was a ticking time bomb in my brain and my heart and soul about, the hobby of gaming and the industry and the process of making YouTube videos that was probably always waiting to eventually switch off. And I think that maybe a couple of months ago, weirdly around the time Metroid Dread came out, of all things, of all timings, the time that my favorite game almost ever comes out, that switch kind of flipped, and I'm like, I kind of am caring about this less and less. And to explain to you guys what I was how I started to maybe come to this realization and notice this, it had to do with just seeing the news cycle on Twitter, seeing the trending news stories, seeing updates from, game companies or franchises that I love, obviously that being like Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. I'm somebody who has a PS5 and now an Xbox Series X, as well as a Switch. And so I'm paying attention to all the platforms and all of my friends and also fellow YouTubers and content creators that I've gotten to know over the years, which I'm super thankful for. And also seeing my YouTube feed of other gaming content and gaming YouTubers. And it's like, as I started to see that stuff happen, probably around September, October time, I'm looking at my YouTube news feed of gaming stuff, and I follow plenty of non-gaming YouTubers as well. I watch a lot of musicians and drummers. I watch a lot of movie content, and also some funny stuff as well that we watch together, my wife and friends and I. But when I would pay attention to the gaming stuff coming through my newsfeed that I always was paying attention to and watching a lot of those videos, many of them are friends of mine and people that I've gotten to know. Like I said, an RGT, a Spawnwave, an Andre's Restart, Game Explain, and all of those guys, and so many other people, Player Essence, whatever. Did I say Player Essence? I don't know. All these guys, some of them I know and some of them I don't know. And typically, if you do this the way I've been doing it, you pay attention, you see what other people are talking about, you also decide the things that you like talking about. And I was just having this realization, I would scroll through, I would see updates on Twitter, on YouTube, and previously for 8 years, I would see this stuff and I'd always be thinking about it and be like, whoa, that's a crazy story. That's a crazy piece of news. That's a crazy rumor. It's exciting. The game fan in me gets excited about what this news could mean. Or if it's bad news, the game fan in me gets mad about a company that does something I don't like or a decision I think is stupid or whatever the case. And I would also, of course, form opinions about it. And because I have a YouTube channel and a small audience, I was like, well, Now the fun thing is I get to talk about it. I get to make a video and film myself and edit it and make a thumbnail and put it online and see people's reactions and talk to people about this story. And I was genuinely and sincerely excited and motivated to do it because I cared about it. But as I started to scroll through and see these news stories and these videos my fellow YouTubers were putting up and see the news stories on Twitter, I was like, kind of just like, I don't care all of a sudden. I don't know what it was. I wish I could explain it with something more like concrete to you guys, but I have no concrete explanation. I would just see this stuff happen. I'm like, I don't care. I guess this new game's coming out. Oh, I guess this company made this announcement. Oh, I guess this is whatever. Like, you know, this news story is trending. This article exists and, you know, there's a rumor about whatever. And I'm like, I just started to not care. And this also was happening at the same time that, you know, with the exception of Metroid Dread and No More Heroes, these two games that kept me so reinvested in playing video games just on my free time, outside of those two games, I was also caring less and less about playing video games. And I started to not be motivated to turn a game on, or when I did turn a game on that wasn't No More Heroes or Metroid, I would kind of just sit there and maybe not pay attention. I would just be on the pause screen. I'd be looking at my phone or just talking to my wife or doing something totally different. And I was like, I realized I didn't even care as much about playing video games in the same time that I was also caring less about talking about video games or paying attention to the news cycle or even forming opinions on gaming enough to make me want to make a video about it. Now, this is actually me from the future, realizing that there was a really important element to this that I forgot to kind of discuss and include in this video. So I'm coming back without my camera turned on with just some probably random B-roll footage of like a Metroid Dread trailer or something playing here, because I wanted to kind of go more down this road and mention what I kind of realized about why maybe I was starting to feel less invested in the gaming space and the gaming news cycle and the hobby of gaming, the way I was just kind of spending a couple of minutes talking to you guys about. And an element that I didn't want to leave out of this video is that I also started to realize that just the gaming industry and the gaming hobby itself is going in directions that I really just don't feel connected to. I am feeling more and more disconnected to the whole concept of video games, playing video games, and talking about video game news, just because the space is starting to do so many things that I just don't really care about or feel connected to. And I mean, that's a variety of things. Whether you're looking at the controversies you see with like Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft and EA and a lot of those kinds of things that continue to come out that are just really disgusting and terrible to me, and I have no room in my life for anything like that or for supporting anything like that, really, specifically. Or if it's even a lot of the business practices and business decisions. I mean, I'm not a fan of a lot of these incomplete game releases. I'm not a fan of the constant monetization. I'm not a fan of the free-to-play experience and the mobile gaming experience, how battle royales and things like Fortnite and stuff are starting to take over. It's not that I don't want certain genres of games to exist for those kinds of fans. I have no problem with that. I want every fan to have the kind of game experience that they like. But certain things become so big based off of bad business practices that they start to impact and infect and influence the rest of the industry and other companies and other franchises. And as that stuff starts to take over more and more, it also pushes me away from things. I don't love the fact that it's becoming an all-digital kind of future and a streaming future as opposed to physical games media future. Like, that is something that, you know, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. I'm just going to say that I don't feel connected to it or enjoy it the same way. I'm not into microtransactions and loot boxes, and I'm not into video games as seasons, which we continue to see more and more. These are things, and you can say it's just the older gamer in me as somebody born in 1980, that definitely, I don't know, I just don't feel attached to it. And then from the content creation side and how as content creators we have a connection to what's happening in gaming, I also don't have any sort of interest or connection to the live streamer and the Twitch streamer kind of situation that's happening with content creation, you know? And again, I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with it. I don't fault any of the people who are doing it, who are Twitch streamers and live streamers. specifically. I have friends that do that, and that's their focus, and that's great. I have friends and fans that also watch that stuff, and I think that that's great. I'm not saying it's bad or should go away. I'm just saying, as I see the gaming industry and the content creation industry around gaming go more and more towards that stuff, I care less and less as well. And so it's one of those things that it's not that it's inherently bad. It's just that it kind of adds to the chipping away at my interest and connection to gaming as a hobby and to doing YouTube and content creation as a hobby. If that hopefully makes sense to you guys, I really don't want to disparage anyone. I have a couple of my personal friends that, in real life, that very much do their own version of streaming. And a couple of my friends, one of my really good buddies, is like an active Twitch streamer, and I love that he gets to do it. I'm really good friends with someone like Miss Click, for example, who is definitely like primarily a streamer, if not entirely a streamer. And that's just what a lot of people do. And as the audience gets more invested in watching people doing live streams of video games, and as content creators get more invested in live streaming, it's just something that's not interesting to me. I don't want to do live stream gameplay, and I don't like watching people live stream video games. Like, I can watch the occasional 30-minute Let's Play of a game on YouTube that has like some comedy thrown into it. That's one thing. But just live streamers and this whole kind of the way the culture is moving towards, I don't know, Twitch coins or whatever it is, and live streams of like chats, it just scrolling up the side of a screen, and all these crazy colors, and you've got these animations and these emotes and these firework things just going across the stream, and people just, being loud and crazy and trying to get all the attention that they can possibly get from different audiences, because through no fault of their own, that's how you get the audience in the live streaming culture. It's not bad. I don't want anyone to mistake it as me putting it down. It's just not anything I care about. And so you add all of that together, the bad business practices in the video game industry, the direction it's going that I don't care about, the controversies of Activision and Blizzard and Ubisoft, the furthering of the live streaming culture and the live streaming personality and Twitch and all of that kind of stuff, just things that turn me off from the concept of the gaming industry and the gaming hobby. And as I see it going more in those directions, it just makes me feel like maybe it's less for me. As each day goes on, I'm just like, it's not bad. It just makes me feel like maybe the space is moving beyond me and moving beyond something that I personally care about being a part of, at least for right now. And so at this point, I have no idea if any of this stuff is even interesting to you guys that I'm blabbing about. This could just be like poor Rob, he has this audience of people on YouTube, something that so many people couldn't even get 17,000 subscribers if they tried, and they couldn't even get thousands of people to watch every video they post if they tried. Oh, woe is you. And like, I get that. And also, I'm not talking about gaming stuff, so is it even interesting? I think if you're watching this video and if you've even made it this far, hopefully that means you're only watching because you actually care about me. You just care about what Rob, a YouTuber you watch, actually has to say about himself. And I know that a lot of people won't care about this stuff. You're here for Metroid news and you're here for Nintendo and gaming news. You're not here to hear about a guy talk about himself. And I get that. I'm not making this video for an algorithm or for views and for revenue or anything. That's not why I'm doing this. It's just, if I'm being honest and candid with you guys, I obviously love you guys, but I'm not making this video for you guys. I'm actually making this video for myself. That's the truth of it. I'm just making this because I have these thoughts and feelings to get out, and I have this channel and an outlet to do it. And so, yeah, I just started to realize that I was less invested in playing video games and I was less invested in the news story and making videos. And every time I would think about, there's this topic that comes out and I got some thoughts, I think I maybe want to make a video. I would think to myself, I got to go in and turn my lights on. I got to turn my camera on and my microphone, open up my audio software. Then I have to go through the editing process. And I don't even do complicated editing by any stretch. I'm not trying to make it sound like my videos have super high production value. But it takes enough time to edit a video. I would say the average amount of time I spend editing, my videos probably average around 15 minutes, right? And I would say, especially the ones where I put myself on camera and intersperse it with B-roll, I would probably say that the average amount of time I spend editing a video like that is like 30 to 40 minutes. It's not an extreme amount of time, but it's not nothing. I don't just export to my computer and then just put it together and then just put it on YouTube. Like, it doesn't take me 10 minutes. It takes me 30 minutes to maybe an hour for some of the more complicated stuff like a top 10 video or whatever. And so I would think about all these steps and the cameras and the microphones and the editing and then making a thumbnail and, you know, again, oh, woe is you, like it's so hard. I know it's not that hard, but it's enough effort, just barely enough effort to warrant you at least needing to care about doing it before you sit down to do it. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm not trying to make it sound like it's the same as like when I worked in construction as an electrician and I'm pulling wire and I'm cutting things and I'm putting up stuff. Like, you know, it's not physically demanding. It's not that kind of hard work. I have a career that's hard work, actually. It's just enough effort that you have to actually care about it before you decide to do it. And I started to care about it less and less to the point that even deciding to turn on my cameras and microphones and editing stuff, I just didn't care about gaming and news stories and playing games and talking about games. And so this is all a long way to say. If I can put a button on this thing and finally move past this whole long-winded topic here, it's just a long way for me to say that I realize that with the exception of this video and the first video I'm going to make of the year, which is going to be just a fun, normal gaming topic about Metroid, spoiler alert, with the exception of that, I did realize that I think I need to just take a break from doing this. And I don't know how long this break is going to be, so it's obviously not good for the growth of my channel to tell you guys that I'm taking a break and I don't know for how long. Like, who's going to want to subscribe to a channel where they say they're taking a break? I don't know. But I need to take a break because, you know, some people could say, oh, just don't overthink it. And some people did say this, and I appreciate these sentiments. You know, just make stuff. Don't worry about a news cycle. Don't worry about feeling like you're forced to make topics. Just talk about things you care about, which is what I've always done anyway, by the way. But just talk about the things that make sense for you and don't feel like you have to put out videos when you don't want to, which is also how I've always done. And I think the problem with that, and the reason it doesn't work just for me personally, just so you guys know, is like, it's how I tackle things that I do creatively. It's how I tackle anything in my life, my job, my relationships, my friendships, my music, my YouTube video, is I basically do things with the switch on. Does that make sense? To me, it's something like if I'm doing it and I care about it and it's something I actively spend time on, my switch is on, so to speak, and it's something that I do proactively. And so I think about it. I have a specific level of passion and care I put into it. It's either the switch is on and I'm making regular videos once, twice, a few times a week, or the switch is off and I need to turn everything off, close my personal laptop, and just step away. And so that's why I have to actually state it as a break as opposed to just slowing down content and not worrying about it and just making videos when something strikes. That's just not how I work and do things creatively or even with my job. It's not how I do things. I need to either have the switch on and it's something I actively do and I'm always thinking about it and I'm present in that creative outlet, or I'm on a break and I'm just not doing it and I turn it off. And like I said, I close everything down and step away until I'm ready to open it back up and turn it on again. And so it's for that reason that I need to do it as a pseudo break. And so I'm going to make this next video in the beginning of the year. And once that's done, I'm literally just shutting everything down. You know, again, it's a break. I'm not quitting. I know a lot of people talk about this every once in a while. They make videos about, oh, I'm burnt out. Oh, I need a break. Oh, I'm quitting. Oh, whatever. I'm really calling this a break because in theory, I'm so proud of what I built with Rule of Two Review. Even though at 8 years to have only, barely 18,000 subscribers, many people would see that as not a big deal because so many other YouTubers come along and they blow up way quicker than that. But I still am proud of it. Like 18,000 subscribers, the vast majority of YouTube channels, like probably 90%, can't even crack 10,000. And here I am, not all that far away from 20,000. And I also have a solid audience. I appreciate you guys because my average videos get 2,000 to 5,000 views a piece. And that is also hard. Based on your subscriber count, there are channels that even have like 40 or 50,000 and their average video views are like 600. You can find, even in the gaming space, you can find them out there. And I'm not trying to flex. I'm not trying to say any one channel is better than another. I'm not better than anyone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to say for myself and what Rule of Two Review is, it's something. It's something worthwhile, okay? 18,000 subscribers, 2,000 to 5,000 views per video. That's not insignificant, okay? To the point of, like I was just saying, I'm proud of it. As somebody who did that completely on the side of full-time music and full-time job for 8 years, I'm proud that I've made even what it is now. And so it's hard for me to think about just completely walking away from it. I just am not currently passionate about doing it. And so my plan is in January, after I post my one video, in the first week, I'm going to just step away. And I will barely use social media because, by the way, social media and Twitter also has led to this because it's made me so depressed. Just like whether it's political stuff, whether it's gaming stuff, just the discourse of everyone. And I'm guilty of this too. Fighting about our opinions, about defending things other people don't like, or I like these things and other people don't like it, or whatever. And again, whether it's politically, whether it's because of the pandemic, whether it's gaming opinions and movie opinions, it's all just come to a head for me in the last, 2 or 3 months. And I've seen it, and I've been engaged in it. I've been guilty of it, and I've been on the receiving end of it. I'm not trying to sound like an angel or totally innocent, but between not loving the YouTube space and between just sick of the way people talk on Twitter and YouTube and stuff, I'm like, it's made me depressed. Like I said, definitely something I've thought about. My personal life is fantastic. My marriage is great. My work is very, very difficult right now, but I do love my job and the company I work for. So there's goods and bads to that, but it's the normal goods and bads that comes from having a career that you use to support yourself and your household and your family. And to me, my family is me and my wife and our pets. No kids for us. And so, that's kind of the whole nature of the situation. But I'm like, I just need to just step away. So I'll make this first video. I'm going to shut down shop, so to speak, on YouTube. And I plan for it to be temporary. My thinking is after hopefully a month to maybe a handful of months, the spark just comes back once I've stopped thinking about somebody who makes videos every week. Thinking about what's the news, what's the process. I'm turning on my camera, I'm editing my videos, I'm making thumbnails and uploading that stuff. When I turn that part of my brain off for a month, 2, 3 months or whatever, I would think, knowing myself creatively, that eventually that spark will come back and I'll be like, I'm ready to go. There's Metroid news coming, there's E3 coming, I'm feeling it again. I've given myself a couple of weeks or months to just breathe away from this space, and I'm excited to kind of start doing it again. And maybe I'll dip my toes back in and make videos slower than normal, but I would think that eventually I'll come back. But my plan is to only do that when I feel I want to. And so the reason I can't say it's quitting, but I can't say it's not quitting, is that I guess there's that small chance that feeling never comes back. I don't know what to expect once I decide to stop doing this. I don't know. Maybe I miss it after 3 weeks. Maybe I miss it after 5 years. Maybe I never miss it. I don't know. My prediction is that after a couple of months, I probably will miss it and I'll feel refreshed and I'll be able to come back and do it like normal. That's my guess, and my general theory going into it is that after a month to a few months, I will be back. But I can't say it for sure. I'm not forcing myself to do it. I don't need to do this for a job, so I don't need to force myself to come back to YouTube videos. I can take my break and realize I never want to do it again, and I can live happily ever after not ever doing it again. Like, I'll miss some of it, but if I'm not motivated, I'm not going to do it. I'm already making money with my career. I've got other job opportunities going around right now, and my wife and I and our band and our friends, we're good. Like, we're just good. I don't need this as a part of my life unless I want it. So I'm only going to come back if I want to do it. And again, I expect I will after a month or two, but I might not. And so, long story, not at all short, that's basically where I'm coming from. And so I think I've probably blabbed enough about this. I don't know how interesting it'll even be to a lot of people. I'm sure most people won't even watch this far. I'm not going to go into I was going to go a little bit into my health situation and how that affected things this year, even though I'm obviously much better and I'm always healing and my medication is helping. And so I'm good. But that was a game changer for me lifestyle-wise, big time, you guys. And it just woke me up to a lot of things. But I don't want to go down that road. I don't need to spend any more time on that stuff. I don't really think I need to spend more time on anything, I wish all my fellow YouTubers well. This, saying me talking about seeing my YouTube newsfeed and not really caring about what people are talking about is in no way a diss on them. And of course, it's not a diss on the idea of doing YouTube full time. I love and respect everyone I know who does it. I think it's fantastic. And there was a time where I thought about doing it as well. I had that twinkle in my eye of doing it full time and becoming big and rich and famous, just like PewDiePie when I started this in 2013. But that's not how I feel anymore. So It is what it is. You know, this is just kind of a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, on what I'm going through right now and what you guys have seen me tweet about a little bit. I decided to squeeze one last personal video in before the end of the year. In the first week, January 2022, you're going to get one more fun gaming topic Metroid video from me. It's going to be a good time. We'll all have a laugh together. We'll enjoy talking about video games one last time. And then I'll go on my break, and more than likely, I'll come back after a month or a couple of months. That is the plan, but I'm not going to force it if I don't feel ready. So that's it. I hope this was somehow interesting or valuable to you guys. I appreciate you spending this time with me. And with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. And I'll catch you next time on my next and temporarily last video. Bye-bye.